Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another sipping and tasting of convention tea. My name is Cosplay Ancestor Airy, and with me today is.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Azure Mage, your very normal VTuber. How you doing?
And I'm going to be a VTuber soon. I'm going to be a cottagecore VTuber. We're very excited to talk about Sakura Con 2024 that was held in Seattle, Washington. For like old folks, Sakura Con used to be known as BakaCon way back in the day, but it was renamed to Sakura Con. It was very surreal, like just finding people who remember the BakaCon days of Sakura Con. So yeah, let's get things started.
Yeah, I remember seeing the ads and promotions for BakaCon, and then suddenly it evolved into SakuraCon. It's like a whoa.
Yeah, so this is your first time tuning into Convention Tea. My name again is Cosplay Ancestor Airy, and I run a website called Scarlet Rhapsody. Scarlet Rhapsody, we've been covering conventions for about 20 years, and I started this whole operation in a dorm in wine country. Like, you know what? It'd be cool if I could just write about my convention experiences, post photos, and just kind of like just blog them all down. So in the early 2000s, there was this trend of like, ooh, let's make your website sound so poetic and sound so like pretty sounding. So I still kept the name Scarlet Rhapsody, kind of keeping with that early 2000s tradition of like, ooh, let's make our website sound so pretty. Like, let's call our website Silent Dreams or Vitamin Love or Ethereal Sea, like something pretty like that. So like, yeah, I'll just kind of keep to that like tradition. And I've been covering conventions for the past 20 years from coast to coast. I'm mainly based in Southern California, but now I've decided like, you know what? I like visiting the Pacific Northwest. And this isn't our first time covering a Pacific Northwest convention within the past couple of months. We were at Northwest Idol Fest over in SeaTac a couple of months ago. So, yeah, you're going to start seeing some more Pacific Northwest convention coverage on Convention Tea. And I also want to
Yeah.
give a shout out to my buddy here, Melancholia. Speaking of Northwest Idol Fest, I met them at Northwest Idol Fest, and guess what? I had them commission my avatar right here. So, like, I'm very excited to bring this avatar to life when I have my VTube persona on my channel. So excited. Yeah, and give Melancholia a follow. Check out their idol, this and that, because they are awesome. All right, let's talk some Sakura Con. So,
Sure.
Azure, when was like the first time you attended Sakura Con?
Wow. Okay. I guess I can give a little backstory. Like, when I first started cosplaying, I was interested in looking into seeing where the big conventions were. Like, I'm a NorCal native, and like when I started cosplaying, I'm like, oh hey, this is fun. Let me see where else I can go. And then when I heard about Sakura Con, I'm like, oh hey, where's that at? It's in Seattle. I don't have the funds. But let's fast forward, and my first Sakura Con was actually 2022. Um, it was fun. However, during that time, I had a bad knee injury, so it was hard for me to walk around. But I did my best to suck it up, and I was able to enjoy the con.
Great. Yeah, my first Sakura Con was when it was known as Garugamesh Con. So this is in 2009, and there's this meme that was going around. It was like this advert for a Sakura Con. You can still find it on YouTube, and it's all these like otaku just hanging out at a sushi restaurant. And then they were like, "Yeah, like I can't wait for Sakura Con. It has all these awesome things like manga, J Rock, and stuff such and such." And then you have this guy just randomly just goes Garugamesh, and that became an internet phenomenon. And then like the running joke of 2009 is like, okay, let's rename SoccerCon to Gilgamesh and this
Just out of nowhere, just
out of nowhere.
Garugamesh.
And here is a photo of the Gilgamesh guy after they bought their badge. So it was so sad that they had to buy their badge at at registration, because I feel like they should have got like a lifetime membership, because they've been like the best for soccer con PR like ever, and you still have people remembering this meme from like 15 years ago. So my first Sakura Con was 15 years ago. I was always curious to check out Sakura Con. At the time, in the early 2000s, I did have friends up in Seattle, but I think by the time I attended Sakura Con 2009, they've already left the convention scene because, as you know, the early 2000s, late 90s convention scene, there still is like night and day with 2009. And I wanted to go. I was with friends at the time, and like they've went and like, yeah, we'll show you around Seattle. We'll show you around SoccerCon, and I had a great time. And I only gone once because SoccerCon is always on Easter weekend, and Easter weekend I'm usually over at Anime Boston. But guess what? I can do both next year because SoccerCon will be traditionally on Easter weekend, and Anime Boston is going to be on Memorial Day weekend. So like, yay, I get to do my two favorite cons in next year. So that's my
Nice.
story with SoccerCon, and I decided to come back because when I've always, again, I've grown an affinity towards the Pacific Northwest fandom. Having gone to Northwest Idol Fest, having gone to Washington State Ren Fair, like, hey, I like the fandom culture up here. Like, I want to like just check out SoccerCon again, and I did. So, like,
Nice.
yeah, let's talk about our cosplays at SoccerCon. So, I decided to go as Sailor Mars because we're gonna definitely talk about Cosplay Wrestling Federation in our future sites here. Then I went as Nero from Fate, not photoed here because I only had like so much room. I also went as Setsune Yuki from Love Live and Your Forger from Spy Family, and I decided to bring out Miyaka from Fushigi Yugi. And finally, for the first time wearing Miyaka, I didn't get the whole like, "Hi, are you cosplaying from Genshin?" Like, no, I'm not cosplaying from Genshin. However, I did get a lot of people coming up to me being like, hey, I like your cosplay. What's it from? I'm like, let me tell you about Fushigi Yugi. Granted, there are things in Fushigi Yugi that did not age well, but it was still like one of those rite of passage, like isekais back in the day. And when I tell people, like, yeah, it's female led isekai, female led isekai, this is a thing. Yeah, in the 90s it was. Go check it out. So like I think I converted like a lot of like Gen Zs and Gen Alphas into like watching Fushigi Yugi on Crunchyroll. All right, let's talk about
Yeah.
your cosplays.
Okay. Yeah. What I cosplayed as is I cosplayed as Mash from Mashal, and then I also cosplayed as Larry, both just around the con and CWF from Pokemon. Because if you know Larry, you know. And then the joke going around was like, "Oh, Rico, why are you being these deadpan cosplayers?" And then as a curveball to everybody, the last day I cosplayed as Gojo from JJK Jujutsu Kaisen, and I was fully in character, and that was fun.
Yeah, I need to get my Jujutsu Kaisen cosplay like ready to go because there's so many characters I love from Jujutsu Kaisen, and I also need to catch up to. All right, let's talk about some
Yeah.
popular fandoms that were present at SoccerCon. So, at least from my observation, the popular fandoms, aside from Genshin, because I feel like Genshin is always a given these days,
Yep.
some of the popular fandoms that I spotted at SoccerCon were Apothecary Diaries, which is one of my favorite animes of last year, and I'm looking forward to more episodes. Of course, Has Been Hotel has been gaining a lot of momentum in the past couple of months. It's an amazing series, so like, oh yay, Has Been Hotel. And of course, like we see our favorite sad elf Frieren roaming around the convention with their staff. What would you
Yep.
say were the popular fandoms, Azure?
Pretty much. Yeah, I agree with the influx of Freeman cosplayers because it was like every other corner there was a Freeman running around with a Fern and a Stark and sometimes a Himmel. Then yeah, uh, basically both Visipop series, so both Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss were showing up a lot, and I guess it's also technically a staple. It's not as big as a staple as Genshin, but there were Spy Family and JJK cosplays around too.
Yeah, I definitely saw a lot of those, especially with the American voice actors for Spy Family being guests at the con as well.
Yeah.
And it's just some fandoms that I was surprised to see, and or just like, hey, it just kind of warms my heart seeing these. Of course, I saw a lot of Cardcaptor Sakura cosplayers because what better con to cosplay Sakura at other than why not Sakura Con, And then I also saw
Yeah.
like Mermaid Melody Pitchy Pitch. I'm like, I haven't seen these cosplayers in a while. I haven't seen like people cosplay from like this like 2000 series about singing mermaids. And then of course I was very happy to see like Locke's cosplayers from Gundam Seed. A lot of them did the outfit that she wears in the Freedom movie and her standard outfit as you can see here. Like I still need to like finish up Gundam Seed. I never got a chance to finish it because I was distracted by Gundam 00. And yeah, so what would you say were just some of like some cosplays or fandom presents that surprised you, Azure?
Uh, I was surprised to see one Dot Hack cosplayer walking around. I wasn't able to get a picture of them, but yeah, just like some nice sprinkles here and there that just surprised me. I think I saw I think I saw Genma, but I from Ranma, but then again, that could have just been Panda Senpai.
I
So
was also thinking
you know,
that too. I was like, oh wait, are you Panda Senpai or are you Genma? Because like I was this close to cosplaying girl type Ranma at Sakura Con, but I didn't have time to make the dress. Like, okay, maybe next con I'll cosplay as girl type Ranma, whichever that next con will be. But yeah, I'm always like seeing like surprise fandoms like, oh yeah, I haven't seen that in a while, you know?
oh, and also actually, there was some tokusatsu and kaiju walking around too. Like there was a Godzilla cosplayer, there was a couple of Common Mask, and also an Ultraman Tiga, which really surprised me.
Oh yeah, it's always like a throwback, like seeing Ultraman cosplayers. Like, oh my god, like I remember this. All right,
Yeah.
let's talk about SoccerCon, the location. So SoccerCon, this is like again my first time back, like in 15 years, and I need to get used to the two building situation. So this is like your main building known as the Arch, and the new building is the Summit. And you had programming more or less equally spread throughout the two buildings. So what was that experience like dealing with the two buildings, Azure?
Um. Well, I hope you're. I hope you like a lot of walking and a lot of stair climbing because that's basically what it was. Because if you wanted to go into the artist alley, it was in the Arch building, and that was spread in both buildings, and in both parts of the Arch building. And then if you wanted to go to the dealers hall, it was over in the Summit building, and it was in the basement of the Summit building. Which I remember when me and Ari went in there for the first time. I was like, "Oh, why is it as big as a Kmart?"
Should be called like
But
Otaku Mart or something. So let's also just
yeah,
talk about just some of our day zero activities. So we went to Neko, a cat cafe in downtown Seattle. And this is actually like a few blocks up from the Summit building. So it was actually pretty walkable from SakuraCon. So like I've heard about this place via Instagram. I was curious to check it out. And like yeah, I thought it was pretty chill. Like it was raining and like what better way to spend a raining day than to spend it with a dozen cats.
yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, so
I
like
also
go on.
I also find it funny that our day zero consisted of us getting rained on, going over to the cat cafe, and then after that coming back covered in cat hair. You know,
Yeah,
as you do.
of course. Yeah, I had to wear my cat ears for this one and just take selfies with all the kitties. And brought one of our friends with us, and they laid their jacket on like the bench there. And the cat, this one of the cats you see here in the first photo, decided to make it their bed for like the next hour.
Yeah, there there was no there was no moving that cat because we were prohibited from actually picking them up. So the only thing we could do was just watch and poke.
hmm Yeah, so if you're like in town for Sakura Con or you just want to look at something unique to do if you have some time in your schedule, I highly recommend Neko Cat Cafe, a few blocks up from the Summit Building. It's really cute, and I just love the owners. It's very inclusive. They have a lot of pride related merch. Like, yay, I feel like I'm at home here. Like gay rights and cats. I love it. I would totally go back again as like my Sakura Con Day Zero tradition. Just like I would hang out with kitties. And also
Yeah.
nice, one of the most unique things about Neko here is they also serve alcohol. So I like a lot of cat cafes I've gone to. I usually just order like a latte or like an ice blended type of drink, like a frappuccino. But like this is like the first cat cafe I went to that served alcohol, and I believe you and Craig, you kind of got boozed up in the cat cafe.
Actually, it was just Craig. I just went for some mint tea.
Gotcha, gotcha. I think I also went for the same tea as well because like I just want to like it's raining outside. I want to feel cozy. I wasn't really feeling alcohol, and then like yeah, Craig got boozed up at the cat cafe, and that was fun.
Yeah. Uh,
All right, so yeah, day one of Sakura Con, and you said it wasn't too bad picking up your badge on day zero.
Actually, no. Like, yeah, sure, it looks intimidating. Like, but they have it all lined up, like for regular attendance. It was all lined up and all separated into different lines. And there were some lines that were closed, but when more of the staff came in, they opened up, and yeah, just go over there, give them your give him your ID, and there you go. I don't know what happened day one, but yeah, day zero was not a pain.
Excellent. Yeah, I went in to go pick up my press badge and looks like there was like a hold up like in the lines. Like, okay, I'll just come back later in the day. And when I did come back later in the day, it's like, okay, yeah, I can pick up my badge, no problem. So yeah, badge pickup I didn't think was an issue. It's just like, okay, there's a little bit of a hold up when we were just kind of like starting to line up. But here in this photo is like the entrance of the summit building. And this is completely brand new territory for me. And I was wondering like, okay, day one of Sakura Con. I haven't been to this convention in 15 years. You know what? When in doubt, let me check out the dealer's hall. And then
Hmm.
just upon browsing around, just kind of decided to take some photos of cosplayers. And the first photo I took was I from Oshinoko. And of course, something I forgot to mention earlier on, I did see like a lot of League cosplayers. And I was also thinking to myself, is it because I'm playing League more often that the League cosplayers are starting to pop out to me? Because I saw a lot of Jinxes at the con. And of course, I was very happy to see like Locus and Chi because the voice actress for Locus is also the voice actress for Chi. However, unfortunately, from my understanding, and you can hold me accountable, Azure, you had to buy the $85 print to guarantee a spot to um, get it signed by the voice actors, and they could only sign that $85 print.
Yeah. I found out like the the night before we flew out that in order to get in order to be part of the signing, first off, for the free signing, it capped off at 100. So if you didn't make it in time, you weren't going to get it. Secondly, yeah, they only wanted you to get stuff from the Bandai Namco booth, and it had to be related to Gundam Seed, and you couldn't go over there and have them sign anything from whatever else they did. Like, I really wanted Tanaka Rie's signature for my Hayate the Combat Butler DVD for my brother, but after seeing that, my heart kind of sank, and I'm like, oh man, that's disappointing. I
Yeah.
understand to cover the costs for getting them to be part of the convention, but at the same time, it's like, oh, we need to recognize other series and works that they've done. You know?
Yeah, and I didn't really like the prints that they were selling. Like, I do appreciate that they were framed to justify the $85 cost. However, these were prints, like, I'm not really feeling these styles of prints because I could think of like just better things for them to sign. Like, for example, if I got like a Freedom kit and I just had them like sign the box for the kit, I think that would have been cool. But like, I just really wasn't vibing with the prints that they were selling. Again, I appreciate that they were framed because I always like framing the prints that I buy from conventions, but I just wasn't really vibing with the art style.
I'm just taken back to cons back in the day where if we saw a voice actor we like, we just bring in either a blank pencil board or just whatever they did, just have them sign it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. But yeah, some highlights of some Friday cosplays here. And again, this is like a shot of the Bandai Namco booth. So in addition to Gundam Seed voice actors, they also brought the talent behind Setsuna Yuki and Rina Tennoji. I'm a huge fan of Love Live Nijigasaki, and it's unfortunate it hasn't got a lot of love as like the first two um, entries to the Love Live franchise. It's just unfortunate because Nijigasaki came out just like during 2020, and the fandom wasn't allowed to like really grow and really show off because of circumstances during 2020. And I didn't get like my Setsuna Yuki Nesaberry until like maybe 2 years ago at WonderCon, when like I started seeing Nijigasaki merchandise at like conventions. I regret not bringing my Setsuna Yuki Nesaberry. Like, oh, I should have brought it because I was also cosplaying as Setsuna too. But I was very happy to at least see both of them. I didn't get to go to any of their meet and greets or their autograph sessions because again, by the time I got in line for Bamco like 10 a.m. in the 10 a.m. It was already like sold out. All autograph tickets are sold out. That made me sad. Like, oh dang. Yeah, this is also the
Yeah.
side of the Gundam Seed Freedom booth. Um, so they had like these standees of the characters from the Gundam Seed movie. Like, okay, let me just pose to them again. I've only seen like the first couple episodes of Seed again because I got distracted by Double O. But you know what? I think after this con, I'll probably just catch up a little bit more because like, yeah, Laga's has some pretty outfits. I might like her. Who knows?
I mean, personally, Seed's not my go-to. I'm a G Gundam fan, but that's just me. So,
Yeah, I wasn't really
uh,
vibing with Seed when I first saw the first couple episodes, but look, let me just be curious and just kind of like just maybe background it, just kind of see if it gets any better because like okay, Seed is all right, but I'm vibing more with Double O. And then I was also trying to watch Turn A at the same time, and oh my god, Turn A is wonderful. It's a masterpiece. But yeah, this is like a
curly mustache.
yeah, and this is a copy of like just one of the prints that they were selling. So you hear it's Kira, and inside Kira is Lacus with cherry
Mm,
blossoms.
nice, but expensive.
Yeah, $85, and I just couldn't just mentally just justify it. And plus, because we were flying from where we were, like just couldn't really justify like, do I really want to add like an extra thing to my carry on? Because I was already carrying a lot, as is with traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, granted, I'm very thankful they'll let me carry my medical device with me as an extra like carry on, but like that's still like a lot to carry.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is also part of the summit building, and like so I ran into this guy on the way up to Cosplay Wrestling Federation, and then he had a "You lost the game" sign, and everyone just was looking at that sign. Everyone was like, "Ugh, this is so 2010s."
It'll never leave.
I decided to just bring that out there, just show some con vibes.
Yeah.
And here's our cast photo of Sakura Rumble Night 1. What was that like for you, Larry?
It was interesting. I mean, being this was actually my first time being a host for a CWF, so I wanted to get my feet wet, and yeah, it actually turned out good. Granted, I'm as bland as a piece of paper because I'm Larry, but that's the charm of Larry. So you take it for what it is.
Yeah, and I entered in as Sailor Mars. I've always wanted to go as Sailor Mars for like the longest time for CWF because I think I was watching Fanimania the year after um, the year when we could all go back to conventions. And I was just kind of like just looking at the entry roster. I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is the year I should enter as Sailor Mars. Maybe this is my calling to enter as Sailor Mars. So I was just kind of like just workshopping this, and then um, I was also in a tag team match, and like, okay, my first time as Sailor Mars on one of the bigger stages for Cosplay Wrestling Federation, and my first thing is a tag team match. Oh my goodness, I was really nervous about it. But we ended up just making it work out. Bryce and I were rehearsing the night before, and it was a lot of fun just to like just be on stage as Sailor Mars, play her up really full heel, and I thought everyone within CWF was very helpful in like just finding some inspo and finding some um like where to go with this character, and I just had a lot of fun on stage being Sailor Mars. And then I met like a lot of people after the show. It's like, oh my god, you were so awesome! Like blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, wait till you see night two. So again, I had a lot of fun, and this is like again my first like major show with CWF because I've done smaller shows, but this is like my first major entry at like a huge event, and I couldn't have asked for a better event than Sakura Rumble.
Yeah, you did really good. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. All right, so that covers CWF. So after
At
CWF,
night one.
yeah, night one at least. We'll get into more of tonight too. And then for Friday cosplays, I decided to wander the artist alley. So again, like I was very happy to see My Hero Academia cosplays. Another throwback one, Yona. I was like, hey, there's a Yona cosplayer. And then, of course, some more arcane slash League of Legends cosplayers just wandering around Artist Alley. And I was on a mission to find for Ari stickers and decals for my laptop. I was sad because I couldn't find for any Ari stickers for my laptop at the dealer's hall. I'm not dealer's hall, Artist Alley. And Artist Alley was very interesting to navigate because it took place within two floors. And I didn't know this until I got back to the hotel room. And I think one of y'all had mentioned, like, yeah, there's a second artist alley. Just kind of follow the escalators right by the food court, and it'll take you to a secondary artist alley. And that was my
You're
first,
welcome.
yeah. And that was like my first stop, like on Saturday morning. It's like, okay, maybe I can find for league merch. Maybe I can find for like Ari stuff. And I did find a booth that had like an Ari print, and they had like some Ari charms, like, and I ended up picking up some Ari charms, like, but sadly no stickers. Made me sad. But but I really liked the artist alley just being this huge as it is. There was a lot of room to breathe, a lot of room to walk around, and I actually did pick up some business cards for some artists. Like, okay, I might be not able to buy stuff from you in the here and now, but I love your stuff, so I will follow a lot of you. And it's also nice when you're at an out of state con and there's artists that you don't get to see all too often because they're not in your neck of the woods, and it's just nice to kind of like see what's out there and to support like local artists in the area because like, hey, this is pretty unique. Like there was even an artist who was selling like, Filipino mythology charms, and I ended up buying a crescent moon Filipino mythology charm from them. It's like, yeah, like,
Nice.
yeah, it was really cool. So really enjoyed just wandering around Artist Alley. All right.
Mm.
So, yes. All right. So you were able to like wander the gaming hall, right?
Yes, I
All right.
was.
What was that like?
So I was pleasantly surprised with how the arcade was laid out because they actually brought in, for the first time I've seen in a convention, an actual good layout for pinball. And
Yeah.
then they had everything separated in by genre. So they had a section for racing, they had a section for fighting games, they had their music game stuff, etc., etc. And it was to that point where it you didn't I mean the space was big, so it was impossible to feel crowded, but it gave that big arcade vibe that I always love to enjoy. In contrast, I am disappointed with the console gaming setup, both the retro and the console gaming setup. And also, I wanted to go try some of the try to play some card games over there, and they weren't. Let's just say the bigger highlight for the gaming section for Sakura Con was the arcade.
Wow. Yeah, and the nice thing about the arcade is I heard like it was like open for like open to the wee hours of the evening.
It was open 24/7.
Oh, really? That's awesome that they were able to hold this like for like 24 hours.
Yeah, no, Kevin, our other roommate, just went there and didn't come back until like 5 in the morning on one of the nights. It was like and he's like, oh yeah, they were open 24/7.
Wow. All right. So that's the arcade. So I also went to the ballroom dance on Friday night. I was cosplaying as your forger. I was on a mission to, just check out the ballroom dance. My buddy Craig, who was also one of our roommates, was also there dressed up as formal Pochita in a tux at the ballroom dance. And hey, I got to dance with him twice. But I just like, I just, like Craig and I were colleagues at Anime Los Angeles because we staffed the ballroom dance over at Anime Los Angeles. And we usually like to go to other cons of ballroom dances for research and just to compare notes. So,
Mm.
so like, yeah, I decided to just take photos, just kind of like just soak in the vibes, take photos of formal costumes. And then there was a conga line when I was there in the first hour. Ballroom dance is only about 2 hours long, which is like, oh, I wish it was longer. And this is held over at the Arch Building over at room. It's what used to be known as the Sakura Dome. I don't know if they still call it the Sakura Dome, but this is where CWF used to be held previously when we didn't have the runway stage.
Yeah, it was an amphitheater setup, so the seats were surrounding everything, and we had to go into the middle in order for us, to do our stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they kind of had like a similar setup here. So you had like the chairs just kind of surrounding like this one zone, and that one zone is where people did all their dancing. And I always like looking at like what formal outfits people bring to the event. So you had formal Nozomi here in the Victorian dress. I still have my formal Reen dress. So I'm like, okay, I need to wear that ballroom dress again because it's so cute. And then there's Christine from Phantom of the Opera in the masquerade dress. And then you have like Bulbasaur over here. It's like, oh my god, I always like seeing like formal interpretations of Pokemon. So I always like seeing the creativity people bring to ballroom dances, whether it's a recreation of something or whether it's just a formal interpretation of something that already exists. So I always enjoy seeing those at formal dances. Of course, I say this
Mm,
because I also run the cosplay contest at formal dances. And I also decided to
right.
sit in for like the last like half hour of the AMV contest. My first soccer con, I actually did attend the AMV contest and a couple AMV panels because the people I was with, they were AMV creators. So there was like really cute Spy Family one that was mashed up with Macross Frontier and it was like Anya being a mecha pilot. And I'm like, that better win something because that was just too adorable. Like, this better win something. But I miss like watching AMV contests and like it was held like in this tiny like video room because I felt like they needed a larger room because there were people like just standing on the sides. And granted, well, there were like still like some open seating available. Like, yeah, I kind of feel like AMVs like needed a bigger room because like I remember when A&V's used to be like one of the like main events at conventions, and this probably is still considered a main event at Sakura Con. And I do appreciate that people still show up for A&V contests and vote for their favorite videos. But I've always just enjoyed to kind of like, okay, I'll just chill, watch A&V contests and just see what's out there. And also, I like seeing like who won.
I think the drop mainly is because of the advent of YouTube.
Yeah,
Mainly
cause
because, mainly because like AM, people put their time and effort to make an AMV, and then they bring it over to a convention because that was the only way they can get their traction. However, because YouTube became as it is now, it's easier for them to get noticed. So I think that's why it's come to that point where the AMV scene kind of is dropping. I don't want to say substantially, like it's still around, but it's like not as big as it was before.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like this, what I've noticed with the AMV contests at Sakura Con and at Anime Boston, you really have to be like the best of the best to like enter. You had to have like all those crazy effects in there to like really like place, because that Anya Macross Frontier AMV, that took like a lot of effort to like just mash up like Anya as like a mecha pilot. And that
Yeah.
was, I just kind of feel like you have to like really still like be the best of the best to like just show off your AMV skills here. Also, I was about to say again, because I think the other AMV contest I went to, you and I were at this con, Anime Las Vegas, and it kind of
Yeah.
felt, this is no insult to the creators, because it seemed like the creators who entered in were in high school and they were still kind of like learning like the basics of editing via iMovie or whatever system they have. I know I learned on Windows Movie Maker, and it
Me
seemed
too.
like a very basic entry, like it's like baby's first AMV kind of contest. Because I know
Yeah.
Jay, who also does convention tea with us, he was looking at those videos like, yeah, I would feel bad for entering in because I would probably destroy these people. But at the same time, it just felt like this was babies. A lot of people who are entering it's baby's first competition. Like, yeah, give these kiddos a chance to show off. And there's nothing wrong with
Right.
that. And I hope they're still making AMVs, and I hope we get to see them at large scale contests in the future.
Yeah.
All right. So with that said, anything else you want to highlight on Friday evening?
Um, I'm trying to remember if I. Oh yeah. So in contrast to the to you going to the ballroom dance, I actually went over to the regular dance,
What was that
and
like?
well, they had a lot of places to sit, and just it was it was very. I liked the music. The DJs that they had over there were really good, but also at the same time, it was. Eh, I want to say I want to see a more. I want to see a more lively night scene. Because let's face it, when it comes to going to a convention, you want to see the more crazy stuff happen when the official stuff close out, and like I didn't get to see that much, which made me sad. But you know what? Whatever. It did what it did, and I say it was something good to check out.
Mm. All right, let's do our ad break before we go into Saturday. So,
Okay.
Magic Candle Company, you can use our code EAT15 and save 15% off when you use our code EAT15 at checkout. One of my favorite candles at Magic Candle Company, as the Roman Emperor, Emperor Nero Claudius, the Emperor of Roses, the Emperor who likes to make it lit. My favorite scent is Rome Burning. Yes, they do have a Rome Burning scented candle at Magic Candle Company. So if you like to know what it's like to party with Emperor Nero Claudius, highly recommend the Rome Burning candle. And you can save 15% off when you use our code EAT15 at checkout. But don't eat the candle.
No,
All
I
right.
mean,
All right, Saturday morning. Okay, where were you Saturday morning?
I just roamed around the con and oh yeah, went over to go get breakfast over at I don't know if it's okay for me to say, but Biscuit Bees. Yeah, me and our other roommates got up and we walked over to Pike's Place and we went over to go get biscuit sandwiches over at Biscuit Bees. If you want to know the actual name, I'm not going to say it out loud, but it is the synonym. It's what you call a female dog.
Indeed. Yeah, so Saturday cosplays just kind of started just wandering around, and I had more time to take cosplay photos because I was just so tired and just kind of like in exploration mode during day one. Like, oh yeah, day two, let me take pictures, more pictures of cosplayers. So found someone who was also costing from Fate, staying in our hotel. Wonderful. Saw a lot of like new school and old school Vasha Stampedes and Wolfwoods, which made my old school heart very happy. And then we have Chica from Yohane in her D&D series. I can't pronounce that P
Nice.
word. It's like Parhelion. Like I just call it Yohane the D&D. Yeah, so like woke up early in the morning and decided to just wander around the Arch building and just took cosplay photos. And here was another throwback one. And then like another
Wow.
throwback series, Magic Knight Rares, also a female-led isekai that's now streaming on Retro Crush. So there's like parts like this lobby area of the Summit building that's on the third floor that's nice for photos, really nice lighting, a lot of greenery, a lot of plants, and like there's a little outside garden that's open to the public where you can also take photos too. And I did some of my photos as your Miyaka in that general area, and that was a popular area for if you want to do some cosplay shoots. I was kind of sad
Mm.
because like there wasn't really a centralized place to find where cosplay gatherings were. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. I have a piece about that.
would you
So,
like to say a piece on
you know,
that while we're here?
yeah, like, you know, when you're walking around, you see a lot of good cosplays and everything. And then, they tried to set they tried to centralize like programming guide on an app and everything. But the thing that was never posted whatsoever, they never posted any of the cosplay gatherings that were there. Like, let's say you actually wanted to be part of a series gathering, like you took your time and effort to bring it over to Sakura Con, and you want to see people who cosplay from the same series, and you want to take photos with them. That never happened. There was no listings whatsoever, or even announcements, which is disappointing to me. Like, as nice as soccer, like the locations are for some photo shoots, it's like, how are you going to get people to go and check these scenes, these places out when you don't announce where a gathering's going to be?
Absolutely, because I saw a lot of Sailor Moon cosplayers on what was it on Friday, and I was cosplaying as Sailor Mars. I'm like, I want to meet some other Sailor Moon cosplayers and make friends. And I'm like, wait, so there are gatherings being like herded around, and I'm like, so there's no, are these like just done just independently of the con, or is there someone at the con who needs to put these gatherings in there? So I wasn't really quite sure with that culture of Sakura Con, but I'm like, hey, it'd be nice to like know where people are plotting gatherings so I can also adjust my schedule accordingly, you know?
Yeah, I brought a Honkai Star Rail costume with me. I was dressed up as Welt, and I heard just secondhand that there was a Hoyo gathering on both Friday and Saturday, and I'm like, oh, nice. Maybe I can go over there. I didn't know where it was, and again, I'm just like, oh, you you really you're really doing this for a majority of your attendees who are going to be cosplaying, and they have no idea where a cosplay gathering is.
Yeah, so I kind of have to like maybe next year we'll figure out where to how to navigate this because like wait, we're all the gatherings, and if any of you are listening to this right now, if there's like a Discord or something where all the gatherings are being discussed, drop that in the chat because we would like to know this.
100%, please.
Another highlight that I spotted on Saturday was the Spy Family cosplay group. They had a bond. They had a white fluffy bond, and he seemed
Nice.
happy to be there too.
Oh, that's good.
Hmm. Yeah, I just
Well,
ran
you
into
know,
them when I was just like when I was just entering. I actually just decided to grab ramen over at Kizuki. That's a few blocks up from the Summit building. It's like, you know what? I'll just go grab ramen, just kind of like just warm myself up a bit because it was kind of chilly. And then when I went back into the Summit building, oh hey, I love the Spy Family groups. Like I need to get a photo of them because like look, they have a bond.
yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, when you see the entirety of a group, including the animal companion, it's like you got to take a picture of it,
Oh,
especially when the
absolutely.
animal's compliant.
Hmm. And speaking of Spy Family, I went to the Spy Family voice actor panel here featuring Alex Organ, Meg Shipman, and Natalie Van Sistine. And they had like a lot of behind the scenes, like behind the booth kind of stories to share. And like I thought it was really wholesome when Megan and Natalie were talking about their adventures at Universal Studios. They didn't specify which one because in Japan they have a spy family they have a spy family merchandise over there. I know this because I have the Anya headband. And I'm like, yeah, I wish I could like pick up find some your merchandise that they were selling over at Universal. But anyway, but they were just talking about like the upcoming movie Code White that's coming out in a couple of weeks. Like yeah, like we had like so much fun recording this, and you guys have a lot to look forward to. Code White is a standalone movie, so you don't really need to like be caught up with the series to enjoy it. And I think like, hopefully this might also be a good um, entry movie for those who are not familiar with Spy Family to get into the series as well. And another question, a question that someone asked was like, that I thought was very interesting the way that the voice actors had responded to this was something to the effect of like, yeah, do you ship Twilight and Yor? And then Alex, the voice actor for Lloyd, was like, "Well, yeah, you have like he has like these moments like in the beginning where he's like, yeah, I've seduced many women, but Yor is XYZ." It's like, there might be something going on there. And then also, um, what was it? Also, Natalie also brought up a really great point. You have like these socially awkward like people like in this series that grew up in wartime, like and might not have known like what is romantic love. And I thought there was like a really insightful conversation to that question. I also appreciated that there are like some Anya aged folks in the line for Q&A that were asking questions too, and like, oh my god, this is so adorable. And I just appreciate the fact
Mm.
that Spy Family just appeals to folks across different generations. And like we had a huge audience, we had a huge turnout for the voice actors. Like there was a huge line outside the panel room for these voice actors. And like yeah, and they were like, yeah, we're surprised to see like a huge turnout for this in Seattle because because they were talking about like how they also had a huge turnout at Anime Expo a couple of years ago when the series debuted, and they were just talking about like just how fondly they look upon like the fandom for Spy Family. Like, yeah, glad to be in the front row listening to it all.
Yeah. I wanted to go get their autographs. I mean, I thought I remember reading online. This was a couple of Reddit posts, and there was nothing saying anything about how much it would be to get an autograph from them. And but like the Reddit posts were like, oh yeah, when you buy your membership, you know you get the dub voice actors for free. No, unfortunately, the voice actors did have their autograph listings for prices for their in order to get an autograph with them and also a selfie. Like I understand, again, it's they want to get paid for them being able to get there, but I hope you can they're able to at least announce that on the official site to let people know that hey, the autograph really isn't free, but at least they were open to letting the voice actors sign like fan art or whatever.
Yeah, because the print that Natalie Von Sistine has for I actually have it. I had her sign it at Anime Las Vegas last year. it's a fan art of your just being totally badass. And I have that framed in my office. Like, yes, I need like this badass femme fatale like framed in my office next to my various your figurines. So I'm actually grateful. Like, yeah, they'll sign fan art, they'll sign whatever. They're not as strict as say Bandai Namco, and there's like a lot of flexibility there. But sometimes I would also just kind of like to mentally budget like, okay, this voice actor I don't get to see all the time is going to be at this con. How much do I need to budget for a selfie? Because I like getting selfies with voice actors, especially if I'm cosplaying from the series that they're voicing in, or if I'm cosplaying as the character they're voicing. Um, and
Nice.
I kind of have a feeling that this has been like the new normal for the past couple of years. Western voice actors charging for autographs because back in our day we didn't have to like worry about that, and I kind of feel I always like striking up conversations with voice actors, but I always feel weird like, hi, I'm striking up a conversation, but I really don't want to purchase anything right now. I just wanted to say hi because I would always feel a little bit awkward about that. Anyway, but Spy Family, the panel, the Q&A
Yeah,
session was pretty
I
good.
want to. Yeah,
Oh yeah, you can go on.
yeah.
Did you want to say something?
Oh no, no. I was just gonna add on to just the whole. Yeah, I just wanted to add on to the whole autograph thing where it's like, oh yeah, back in the day, if you purchased your ticket, yeah, you could just go over and get a ticket and then just shoot the breeze with them for a little bit, and then you can, go off in your merry way.
Oh, absolutely. I had like so many memories just bonding with voice actors through that method. So anyway, also in the Summit building, you also had the cosplay repair station.
Yeah.
What I liked about this is I had to like just trim the bang on Setsuna Yuki's wig because she has kind of like funky asymmetrical anime bangs going on. And luckily, we had like someone to just take care of that to just make the bang look a little bit more asymmetrical. And she was able to just cut it. And I showed her a reference photo, like, yeah, this is what I need to look like. And then she was able to do it. And she also put like a blanket over me so I didn't get like any excess hair on my costume. So I thought that the cosplay repair station it was ran pretty well. It seemed pretty busy, and I'm glad that they were fairly busy. And people there were just generally friendly to just help you out. Were you able to check out the costly repair station, Azure?
Actually, no, I wasn't. I didn't even know where it was. Was it in the Arch Building?
It was in the Summit building. It had a nice view of the city here too.
Huh.
Yeah,
Neat.
I felt like there was like a lot of like
Yeah,
things at the
I didn't
con
know.
that I still wasn't aware of, and I didn't find out until like the last minute because again, just adjusting going back to Sakura Con after 15 years was really something. And then I decided to check out another panel. This is
Right.
Abner. He does a panel called The Annie Songs of My Youth. And I walked in as he was singing the theme to Macross, Do You Remember Love? And like, yeah, I remember like hearing this at Animagic 2000. Mario Jima was playing this on the keyboard at the poolside. And like he was a lot of his shtick is like singing like old songs from anime or like classic J-pop songs like Sukiyaki because in all my years of attending anime conventions, this is the first time I'm hearing someone sing Sukiyaki. And it's funny because my introduction to Sukiyaki was like through Family Matters when like Urkel and friends had to enter a karaoke contest and their aunt Dana not Dana Donna Summer had to like save them by singing Last Dance. But anyway, it was also really nostalgic singing the theme to Soccer Tyson because like I haven't sung the Soccer Tyson theme at a con since like the mid 2000s. So a lot of this was a really fun throwback. And he also did some new stuff, new songs too. Like he's done stuff from Sound of Philomphonium, Wake Up Girls especially. So I thought it was just kind of cool, just like checking out this karaoke show, which that featured like old school anime songs. And you could check out his channel in the
Nice.
description. Highly recommend. So Azure, what else did you do before CWF? Was just wandering around? Anything else?
Uh, Went into the arcade again, spent some time over there. There was a line for one of the arcade shooters, which involved you shooting targets as fast as possible, and then the final round of that was you shoot three targets, and then the final target was a cup, and if you hit the cup exploded.
Wow,
And yeah, and then I just went over to go get a snack, and then prepared for CWF.
wonderful. All right, so and this area right here is like the third floor of the Summit building, and this balcony area I also didn't know was until I stepped in. Like, oh, there's like a lot of cosplayers like just gathering and just hanging out here, and this is also a really nice spot for cosplay photos. And of course, I didn't find out until like my last hour cosplaying as Setsune Yuki, just kind of just hanging out here. It's like, God dang, I wish I had known this in advance that this was like another happening gathering spot for cosplayers and also get some solo photos because you can get some really nice cityscape photos in this area. And then I also, like I mentioned, I checked out the second floor of the artist alley, or rather the floor below the main floor of the artist alley. So this was like smaller than like what was upstairs. And I didn't know about this zone until you had mentioned it to me. So like I did a lot of wandering here and ended up also just buying some RE keychains. And also there was a stamp rally for like a couple booths going on. So if you bought like ghost related merch, so there's a band called Ghost. I actually used one of their songs as my entrance music for Yohane. And if you stop by and bought stuff from the Ghost merch from these various artist booths, you get a stamp card. Check it off, and then you get a random prize at the end. And I thought that was pretty neat that they were doing like booths got together to do these stamp rallies, and it was really very interesting to see that there's a fandom circuit out there for Ghost, and like I've never heard about this in LA. Like wow. Some Saturday cosplay
Nice.
highlights. Of course, I like to highlight Genshin. This was taken at that Summit balcony terrace area. It's like, hey, I kind of like this area for photos. I should have gone up here to take more solo shots and to get photos of cosplayers. Now that I know, yeah, Uma Musume here ran into an Uma Musume cosplayer at the Arts Alley. And then, of course, more Apothecary Diaries. And I love it when people cosplay as Mau Mau and they have like her in her cat ear mode. Because that's like my favorite version of Mau Mau. And if I were to cosplay as Mau Mau, I probably would do that version too.
Nice.
All right. So, Saturday night looms nearer and nearer. I went to, yeah, I went to the, it's probably on the next slide, but anyway. So, Masquerade was right before Cosplay Wrestling Federation. So, we were able to see some of the winners and the entries backstage. And I love seeing everyone's costumes backstage. So, I just took a few photos of some of the entries backstage. And I also noticed if you see here with the Sakura cosplayer, again, what better con to cosplay Sakura Kinomoto at than Sakura Con? That there's also like a
Right.
ribbon collecting culture starting up at SakuraCon. I'm like, dang, I should have brought my ribbons. And I didn't know that I could like pass out ribbons and people would understand the ribbon collecting culture. So I also appreciate that too.
Yeah, that was on the rise, which
Hmm.
is nice. So
Hmm. And then here
yeah.
we have, oh yeah, no, I guess we could start talking about Cosplay Wrestling Federation.
Yup.
All right, let's go.
Oh boy.
And by
Oh
the way,
boy.
yeah,
Yeah.
by the way, these were the entries for Cosplay Wrestling Federation. Like a few highlights here and there. But yeah, yeah, Azure, like, yeah, just lead us into Cosplay Wrestling Federation.
Oh boy, night two, our main event. Again, it was my first time co-hosting a CWS show, and I think my highlight for that night definitely was being able to get everybody, which we had a very sizable crowd watching us, which was amazing. I got everybody to stand up to do to do the morning work stretches with me, and then the opening to Mashal as well, which was fun. And but yeah, I understand now the hardship of having to choose who to go to the next round and what the final matchup is, because there were everybody that went up was really really good. Like I'm not even being I'm not being picky here. Everybody that went up was really really good. So it was hard for the three of us to choose who went up to go up against Phoenix Wright.
Yeah, it was pretty intense because I was actually hanging out with Alex, our Phoenix, right here at a panel earlier. We were both of us were at the Love Live panel, and like, yeah, we got along fairly well. And like, oh my God, like this is also was also like my first like major entry to CWF on a main stage, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go as Nero. I'm gonna play Nero to be up as this hedonistic, unhinged emperor, and like I just had like a lot of fun on stage. And I think that's really the key to CWF. Just like have fun with your character and just roll with it, you know? And here's our cast
Right.
photo here up at that summit building again. I just love the cityscape in the background, especially if you can get that lighting in there. It's just such a beautiful photo of all of us there,
Yeah.
especially Kevin.
He had to throw away that harness after he wore it.
And then we found it on a dachshund in the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
That
like at
well,
airport
you did.
security. Yeah, I was at like airport security, and then someone brought their dachshund on to airport security, and they had a harness on, and then I just took a picture of the dachshund. I sent it to the group chat like, "Hey, Kevin, we found your harness." But I had a lot of fun, and you can follow Cosplay Wrestling Federation on the YouTube channel. You can check out the link in the description, and hopefully by the time this video goes up, hopefully the Sakura Con video will be up on the YouTube channel. It's always an amazing show. So if you're ever at Sakura Con and just need like a late night fix, check out CWF.
Yeah, I mean it's not just Sakura Con. We do shows wherever they accept us, and we usually bring out a really big crowd, and we just go up there and act out our best, and it's just really fun.
All right. Okay, and so coming into Sunday, we do have an ad break. Now, we do have an upcoming convention dedicated to idol culture coming up in Southern California, and this is LA Idol Matsuri. I'm really excited by this event. My group, Annie Marketplace, will be hosting this event in lovely Torrance, California. So if you were at SoCal Idol Fest last year, we're having this event in September, early September, over in Torrance, over at the Torrance Cultural Arts Center. We aim to have as many local idols perform for you, and we're hoping that'll be an amazing show. So follow us on our socials, LA Idol Matsuri, over on Instagram, and we hope to see you in Torrance this fall.
Hmm.
All right. Okay, Sunday cosplays. All right, woke up Sunday morning, and you and I, we had a panel to run, but we'll get into that on the next slide.
Yeah.
So, yeah, woke up Sunday morning, and so there was this mysterious vending machine cosplayer that would show up like at different parts of the convention. And when we were getting to our panel area, we were just trying to find where it was, what was the best way to get to our panel. We saw this guy cosplaying from like I was reincarnated as a vending machine in some isekai universe. You know the drill.
Yep.
And that
It's a
was
fun
also,
series.
hmm
It's a good. It's a fun watch.
okay. I'll have to background that and just kind of like, okay, I'm curious now. It sounds dumb enough to like, okay, maybe I'll check it out and just have a good laugh.
Yeah, but no, literally that vending machine was seen basically at random points at the convention. You'll see it in the summit building on the first floor. You'll see it over by the Euro restaurant in the Arch building. It was fun. It was fun to notice it.
Hmm. And of course, you have Kiki and Tombo from the classic Kiki's Delivery Service. I need to like spend a day where I just watch Studio Ghibli movies on HBO Max. And then you have Neko Arc from Type Moon, because like, yeah,
Yay.
it makes me happy that people cosplay as Neko Arc. It's like I love Neko Arc.
I just love Tsukihime in general. That's still my favorite Type Moon series, or yeah, series.
It's interesting you mentioned Tsukihime because my first Sakura Con, I was cosplaying as Akia at my first Sakura Con.
Oh, nice.
Hmm. It makes me sad that like at Type Moon gatherings you don't really see like a lot of love for like Tsukihime or like Melty Blood.
There, the last Type Moon gathering that I did was ALA. No, we didn't have one this year for ALA, but last year's ALA, we actually had a couple of Arquids join the Fate gathering.
Oh, that's so awesome! I do
Yeah,
appreciate that. So here we
yeah.
also have like a shot of Artist Alley. Just kind of do some last day finds. And again,
Hmm.
what I really appreciate about soccer cons, they make these aisles space wide enough for us to navigate and for people to check out art, because I cannot navigate Fanimate's Artist Alley or Anime Expo's Artist Alley with like being close to having a panic attack, because you're just so crowded in. But I do appreciate Soccer Con to make the aisles wide enough where I can see things and I can also breathe too.
Mm.
Yeah, speaking of lines to like just go see like guests and stuff. So this is the line for Love Live. This is like the open meet and greets, and this is like, open to anyone who wanted to meet the voices, the people behind Setsuna and Rina. And the line cut off at 100. I just said like, okay, let me check it out. Maybe check it out. And they already cut it off like almost like an hour before before the meet and greets. Like, okay, I'm SOL, but you know what? I went to the Love Live panel. Koko Hayashi, the person behind Setsuna Yuki, she flashed me hand hearts. Like, okay, I'm just happy with just that. I couldn't get my selfie, couldn't get an autograph, but you know what? It's okay. At least I got to be in her presence, and she flashed hand hearts at me.
Oh, nice.
Also, Sunday was during Easter Sunday, so you have like people like integrate bunny ears with their costumes. I used to do this all the time at Anime Boston. I would cosplay as Usagi from Sailor Moon on the last day. I would dress up as Princess Serenity or wear her like regular like school uniform. But like yeah, it was like cool like seeing people like just integrate like Easter aesthetics into their cosplay. So you not only this Demon Slayer group has like the bunny ears, but they also have like an Easter basket. And like, oh my god, that's so cute. And then you
Yeah.
also have like folks like just wearing, yeah, just Easter bunny, bunny ears, like the Spirited Away group here over in the dealer's hall.
Mm.
Yeah. So, yeah. Speaking of which, what else did you do on Sunday, Azure?
It really was. It just boiled down to it was the last day, and just seeing if I could make those last minute purchases. Because I didn't want to spend too much. I basically just reserved myself for the artist alley, and I picked up a couple of prints,
Oh, what kind of
and
prints did you pick up?
I picked up a couple of Hololive prints, and some Honkai Star Rail prints, because I'm when it comes to Hoyoverse, I am 100% a Star Rail fan over Genshin. I appreciate Genshin, but Star Rail just gets me.
Absolutely. All right. So I also went to Dreamland Maid Cafe. Dreamland Maid Cafe was a lot of fun. I've done their Maid Cafe at Anime Pasadena a couple of times, but it was also different in Seattle because they had brand new performances. They had maids I had never met, and they also had a brand new menu. So I tried the bear themed parfait, which was really delicious. I didn't have anything to eat prior, so that was just pretty much my breakfast. I did make the reservation like the day before. Like, okay, I'll do like 1 o'clock, see what happens. Like, oh, hey, I could get a table for one. And I was able to walk in like at 12 o'clock. And they were able to seat me no problem. It's like, oh, hey, like I was able to check out a couple performances. Was able to take some selfies, and it was a really fun environment because I like that it was like at this it was in the summit building, so you also had a view of the city too as you were just kind of like just chatting and just hanging out with the maids. And I also got to make a new friend who was sitting right next to me. And like, yeah, I thought Dreamland Maid Cafe experience was a lot of fun. So if you do have like some extra cash to burn, highly recommend Dreamland Maid Cafe. I would just suggest picking up a dessert. And if you want, selfies do cost extra, so it's like an extra 15 to take a selfie with the maids. But yeah, I would just like if you wanted to like have like a an authentic experience, like being at a maid cafe in Akihabara, this is a good place to start. And I always love the work that they put into in making their maid cafes very special. And I
Mm.
also miss the curry dish that they served, because my first maid cafe with them, like, oh hey, we got curry, we got lemonade, like yeah, bring back curry. I missed the curry.
Mm. I
Yeah.
I was looking for a good curry place to go eat, but I just went over to the ramen place that you went to, and I just got a chashu bowl.
Nice. I did the garlic tonkonsatsu, and that was very
Nice.
meaty because like I always like get having I always like having like extra like pork belly meat in my ramen. And this is just kind of
Mm.
my last perusing through the dealer's hall because there was a panel I wanted to check out at 4:30. So because it was because March is White Day month, I needed to get white chocolate for my senpai. And then so Roy's chocolate here is like a Japanese chocolate manufacturer, and they had like a special sakuberry chocolate. And it was like a white chocolate with like some strawberry like flavoring to it. It's like, okay, I'll get this so senpai can notice me. And I was also just kind of like just looking at the mystery bag booth, and they had like some booths here like with mystery bags. And I just love how sassy like some of these descriptors are. Like, I hate the mental abuse of mystery bags, but I always go back for more. Sounds like gotcha to me. And
Mm.
then, like, before we get into this next panel that I'm talking about, I wish I had the photo of it here. Yeah, like you and I ran a panel like the first thing on Sunday at 10 a.m. talking about back in my day, because we sure talk about that a lot on this podcast.
Yeah, we sure do.
So, without going into spoilers, because I want people to experience this panel for itself. So, well, I was actually pretty impressed with the audience that we got at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially that early in the morning, because I was worried because doors didn't literally open up till 10 a.m. and our panel literally started at 10 a.m. Like, oh, are there gonna be people here? Do people know what's going on? Because it's like it's hard to gauge when you don't see a line. Like, oh no. But you
Yeah,
know,
we were almost ready to throw hands with the guards because we needed to set up at 9:45 and they wouldn't let us in.
yeah, like I was about to get very sassy. Like I had the email proof that my panel's at 10 a.m. And if you're not gonna let us in, because it says here we can be in 15 minutes before. And these were not Sakura Con staff, but it was like building security staff, which is different from Sakura Con staff because you would think that Sakura Con staff would like know like yeah, these people need to be in to set up. And thankfully, like luckily our panel doesn't require a lot of setup, but I always like to make sure that technology works so I don't have a panic attack.
Right.
But yeah, our panel was just basically talking about like 90s and early 2000s anime fandom, like how to get your anime and what convention culture was like. And because I had this slide specifically for SakuraCon, like, yeah, did you know it costs like $20 to pre-reg for SakuraCon 2001? I don't know how badge costs like these days, but like, wow, like inflation is a hell of a thing.
Yeah. I appreciate how everybody was actually just taking in everything that we said too.
Yeah, we didn't have
And
like
it
people
was
dropping off either. Like people were just like really engaged, just like, kind of like listening on.
yeah, that really surprised me because like I noticed that we literally kept everybody in their seats.
hmm I love talking about these topics, and like I hope we can like do this panel more often, and that conventions will accept us because the sad reality of it is submission for fan panels. at conventions, at least in Southern California, is becoming few and far between as Anime Expo is becoming leaning towards more industry focus and Anime Los Angeles. I did submit this panel for Anime Los Angeles, and they have a limited number of panel rooms, and then conventions like Anime Pasadena, Anime Riverside, it feels like they have like their own programming already set in, and it's more voice actor focused and more like game show focused. So I'm like, okay, I really want to get this panel like off the ground, and even if I have to travel to more Pacific Northwest conventions, like yeah, I'll totally do it because I love talking about this.
Mm.
But yeah, speaking of panels, ended up watching this the last panel at 4:30. So it also intersected with closing ceremonies. So this is a 3:30 to 4:30 panel, like end of the day, but we still had a really good audience even at the end of the day for anime in the Philippines. And we got to talk about not only Voltus 5, because I feel like talking about Voltus 5 is a given. We were talking about anime in the Philippines and the controversy between Voltus 5 and the Marcos regime. But we also talked about an anime that I do remember watching when I was in the Philippines, and it is the isekai known as Superbook.
Superbook.
Let's go to the Bible, kids!
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, no pun intended. That's like, it's an isekai, but the Bible.
uh, I am speechless, and I never knew.
Yeah, by definition, that is an isekai. They're like going into the fantasy world of the Bible.
Oh no. I'm at a loss for words. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I'm intrigued too. So yeah, I remember Superbook in the Flying House, like when I was in the Philippines visiting relatives out there. It's like, what is this? Like, I I can't even. So like that was like a blast from the past for me. And then like it was a very good panel because it kind of talked about the history of broadcast of anime being broadcast in the Philippines, like from like the super robot, real robots coming in for like 70s anime into the Philippines, and there was like a weekly syndication of that. They were talking about like shows like Mazinger, Taisho Daimos, like things I talk about in my panel with Jay when we do History of Giant Robots, Make Mine Mecha. So like yeah, like it's always kind of cool when I hear other people just talking about the mecha anime that we talk about, and then they also talked about Candy Candy, which was also another blast from the past. And like, and it was
Wow.
funny because Candy Candy kind of has like this like, will she end up with this guy or that guy? Kind of like this Jacob and Edward kind of feel to it. But like the image of Candy Candy showed her with her pet raccoon, and I just sarcastically said like, yeah, I went Team Trash Panda. But this was an amazing panel. I hope Mitch does this panel more at conventions because like I would just still like just sit in, even though I've already attended this panel before. I would still sit in and check it out because I think it's very interesting just to hear like how anime was dealt with in different countries. So I was
Mm.
glad to have checked this out. And the other thing about Seattle that surprised me, like, oh my God, I didn't had no idea that like Seattle is almost like Daly City Part 2 because I saw a lot of Filipinos. I wasn't expecting
Um,
that.
yeah, it was. It it honestly felt like San Francisco slash Daly City to me when I was like again, 2022. I wasn't able to actually do a lot of walking because of my knee injury, but this year, just being able to walk around, I'm like, oh God, it literally is San Francisco just in the Pacific Northwest because Pike's Place was just Fisherman's Wharf.
Right? I also got that vibe too, like the first year I was at Soccer Con. Like, yeah, this is like San Francisco or Boston kind of. And then seeing like all the Filipinos and like a lot of Filipino culture like within Seattle, it's like, wow, I'm like in Daly City Part 2.
Yeah, I think the only difference was that there were a lot more coffee shops than
Oh, totally.
that's but that's an old joke. So you know.
All right. And yeah, yeah, Sunday was the last day of Soccer Con. You had a flight to catch, and I ended up just going out to dinner just to kind of like just unwind. But yeah, that was the end of Sakura Con. Sad.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just felt like Sakura Con went by just so fast, you know?
it did.
Hmm.
And I just, I don't know. I mean, like, again, it was fun, but also I had some criticisms.
All right, and before we get into some criticisms, Convention Tea is brought to you by Yemax Sweater. Yemax Sweater is one of my favorite places to like just get something cozy for the home, or if you just want to like just look cute and just get like one of a vintage inspired cardigan. And if you are interested in checking out Yemax Sweater, it's buying yourself a gift, a loved one a gift, or just just upgrading your wardrobe. You can use my discount code YEMAC Dame Asdable to get 40% off at yemacsweater.com. So you can use my code YEMAC-Dame Asdable for 40% off your total purchase at Yemac Sweater. All right,
Yes.
let's go to my favorite part, final thoughts. All right, Azar, you can go first and just list off your critiques and cheers.
Yeah, sure. I will start with my cheers. Um, Definitely, it was it was more organized than the last time I was there. As far as where as far as the artist alley and just the exhibit hall. Um, the the panels were fun. The arcade was a very nice highlight. The dance was it it may sound like a criticism, but it really isn't. It was your typical big anime dance with the rave music and everything, and also just a lot of surprise cosplays uh, around every corner. As far as criticisms, though, yeah, just be prepared to do a lot of walking, a lot of elevator waiting, and a lot of stair climbing if you're not patient enough to wait for the elevators because yeah,
You will get your steps in
having
though.
yeah, but no, having two buildings that were a block away from each other, you guys might want to work on something like that because not everybody is able to is not going to be willing to walk back and forth all the time for a 3/4 day con.
I was also thinking about too in terms of accessibility, because there was actually a couple people who were complaining that like, and justifiably so, about the accessibility of the summit building. It was like it was really hard to get around. It took a while for elevators to like just come in and fetch folks. I
Right.
would say like one of my I would just say this is more of a tip than a criticism. Like if you're able bodied, I would say make sure to wear comfortable shoes. Like even if you're cosplaying, I think there's this culture like okay, like yeah, you're Sailor Mars and you're wearing like a pair of Skechers. No one's gonna care because we know we've done that walk. And I also appreciate the fact that like yeah, people didn't really care if you're wearing like quote unquote inaccurate shoes with your cosplay, because everyone you're like yeah, the walk is really bad. So yeah, we get
Yeah.
it. And I have like my Sailor Mars like high heels like in my purse. So if I needed to do like some photos or like to take some, or if I was performing in CWF, I'd always have those red high heels in my purse, and I would just wear my memory foam shoes as I was like walking around the convention. I think
Mm.
like the only pain in the butt day was because I had to wear like my boots with heels on them, and I don't have like a comfortable alternative for your just yet, but I'm still figuring that out. But I would just say if
Mm.
you're able bodied, that I would just say like a tip would be just to wear like really cozy shoes so you can like go back and forth between the summit and the arch building. Um, I felt the programming was very strong at Sakura Con. They had a lot of good things going on. Like there's a lot of good things that were going on like at the same hour that I wanted to check out. Like yeah, I want to check out this writers panel. Like, yeah, I want to check out this diversity panel. Yeah, I want to like hang out with Craig at the um, folks who are on the spectrum, folks with autism meetup. Yeah, like I wanted to like check out like those types of events. And I also wanted to check out the cosplay contest, but it was so close to our show, and it was also at the same time as a Love Live panel. So like, okay, I had to like pick and choose here. And part of me wants to say like, yeah, maybe Sakura Con is ready to be a 4 day con. Maybe I'm just saying this just as a tourist, just in Seattle, like just going in. But I felt like there was just so much going on at Sakura Con, like it just happens just so fast because there's so much to do, and it's just so rich in programming. Like I really feel like no matter what you do, you're gonna get your money's worth if you spend money on a regular badge for SoccerCon. I just think another critique, maybe this is more on me. I just kind of wish like I knew more about like photo shoot locations, locations to get the best photos, accustom myself more to the summit building because again it was a brand new building because and I had to like to sort of like just get my bearings in again because again it's been 15 years since I've been to SoccerCon. So I kind of like okay, just some sort of preamble, just some sort of knowing where things are in advance and like just knowing who's hosting which cosplay meetup or what are some of the best places for photos because I didn't even schedule photo shoots this year with photographers because I didn't know how busy my schedule would be. But overall, I really do like
Yeah.
SoccerCon. I like the vibes of the Pacific Northwest fandom. Everyone is generally friendly. I like seeing cosplays from like different sources. I don't mind seeing Genshin cosplays because I also cosplay for Genshin. But you know, it's also nice to see like, okay, that's a throwback from my past. Like, it's nice to see Cardcaptor Sakura cosplayers just come in droves, especially with a name like SoccerCon. So I'm just very happy to just be a part of this world of SoccerCon again, and I look forward to returning next year.
Oh, I do want to add one more cheer. Food was not far away, and
Yes.
there were a lot of great options for food. So if you were if you were trying to save money, or if you wanted to eat a nice meal, they were very close to get to. Especially if you wanted to go over to Japantown, which you just need to take the light rail. And the light rail was close.
How far was the light rail? Was it like a 5 minute, 10 minute walk?
Yeah, because it was connected to the nearby Westfield Mall.
Oh, that is good to know. I had no idea that Westfield Mall was close by.
Yeah, I mean it's just a Nordstrom's and and a few other shops, but yeah, no, it's the light rail's connected to it. You just go in, and then there you go.
All right, and with that said, this concludes another serving of convention tea. I really enjoyed SoccerCon. I hope to check out more Pacific Northwest events in the future. Con is looking really promising. I've actually been to Spokane last year, and I'm actually kind of curious to check out Con. I'm actually now curious at Con after having talked to their booth at the dealer's hall and knowing that CWF does a show there. Because there's just something like really chill about the Pacific Northwest fandom. Like, yeah, I really like the people up there. I really like the vibes up there. And it also made me happy, like just seeing conventions like Con and Con having like pride theme like merch featuring their mascots include and they also included pronoun pins as well featuring their mascots or like a cat on it because my pronoun pin is a black cat from Con, which she her like hey I always appreciate this kind of inclusivity because I feel we don't have that kind of vibe here in Southern California cons because I feel at Southern California cons the vibe that at least I'm getting from the pop culture side of it and sometimes more of the anime side of it is like okay we want like fame and I'm like I'm not here for fame I'm here for community I'm here for making connections and I really got that vibe up at the Pacific Northwest and let me tell you that was just a refreshing feeling just as refreshing as this berry parfait that I'm about to nom in this photo here. All right, Azure. It was great having you with us. We hope you can join us again on future editions of Convention Tea. And with that said,
No problem.
yeah, and with that said, the convention is what you make of it, so make it a good one. And we'll see you at the con. All right, that concludes it.
All right. That was nice.